Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, December 16th, 2017. This is episode 1448. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by GoToWebinar, a trusted webinar platform with over 55,000 customers. They've hosted over 2.7 million interactive web events to connect with their audiences. For more information, visit gotowebinar.com/podcast. And by WordPress. Plans start at just $4 a month. Get 15% off your brand new website today at wordpress.com/techguy. And by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Home plays a big role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully, so you could be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here. It's Tech Guy time. Yes. Computers, the internet, home theater. We talk about digital photography. We talk about smartphones. We talk about smart watches, augmented reality, voice assistants, anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you want to join in the conversation. I'd appreciate it. Here we are getting towards the end of the year. We could talk about some of the big stories of 2017 and what's ahead for 2018. We could do that too. 888-827-5536. You think we'll have self-driving cars by the end of the year? Here's the question. Will you ride in your first self-driving car by the end of 2018? In some places, when you call a Lyft or an Uber, you get a self-driving car. So that's possible, right? Do you think this will be the year you get your first ride in a car with no driver? And how will you feel about that? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. You can also use our website if you hear something and you want to, what was that? You don't have to write it down. You don't. We write everything down for you. It's a service we provide. James DeRufo provides. He's writing it all down. He's going to stick it in the website at techguylabs.com. You can go there. This is episode 1448. So you can go to that episode. We break it up into hours, each hour into calls or segments. And you can go right there. Leave a comment even if you don't have to shout at the radio. We do this as a full service website. And you know what? It's free. I don't charge for it. No sign up. No. techguylabs.com. Remember that. Scott Wilkinson's going to come up in about 25 minutes. We will, I promise, give you no spoilers, zero spoilers about the new Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi, but we probably will talk a little bit about it. I saw it Thursday in an Atmos theater with 3D glasses, which I deeply regret. I wonder if Scott saw a 2D or 3D version. See it in 2D if you can. I didn't see any advantage to the 3D except that it was darker. The projector died twice during the movie. It was one of those very nice Christie DLP projectors, very nice state-of-the-art projector. Just decided to, it's a computer, really. These are digital movies. They're sent digitally now. There's no reels. There's no film. It just, downloads the movie and plays it back. So it's a giant computer, really, with a projector on top of it. And I have a feeling the computer just went, because it wasn't the bulb, all the lights went out. It just went, because we were sitting right in the back of the theater, so I could stand up and look through the projection window. Boom. The thing went dark, like when your computer just dies suddenly. Ever have that happen? Yeah, it just kind of crashed. It might have been a crash. Might have been running Windows. Who knows? I don't know. The theater manager, it's funny, she comes running in. You could tell she's not an engineer. She's wearing a blazer. She's well-dressed. No pocket protector. She comes running in, kind of opens the doors on the side. And this is when I thought, oh, we're in trouble. She makes a call. I thought, oh, she's calling the folks at Christie. She's calling the folks at the home office. Hey, yeah, we're in the middle of the projection of the very first public showing of the Star Wars movie, and the projector has died. They got it back on. We had to start over. That's okay. It's okay. I don't mind that. It's a long movie, made even longer by the fact that we had to start over, but that's okay. It was fun to see it again. Saw stuff I missed. And then it dies again halfway through, and we're thinking, oh no. A, please get it back working. B, please don't start from the beginning. But no, they didn't. They rewound it. We did. They rewound it a little far. You know how it's hard to, like on a TiVo or a DVR, it's hard to rewind to, really anything except a VCR. VCR, you're pretty good. You can get right back, I think. Seems to me, it's been a long time, but I seem to remember you could get right back to where you were. But on one of these computer-based players, they overshoot. And I could just see this poor woman behind the giant. It's giant, by the way. It's huge. It's big. It's like 3 refrigerators big. And it has a giant chimney going up to the roof. I guess there's a lot of heat coming off that thing. And I could tell she's just pressing rewind, pause, rewind, pause. Just trying to get it to where did they rewind it a little too far? That's okay. I enjoyed seeing it twice, or 3 times in a way. But we'll talk. Scott Wilkinson, home theater guru, will be here. We'll talk. Last week, net neutrality died officially on Friday. The FCC voted on straight party lines 3-2 to repeal the law in 2015 that now we've had net neutrality regulations. Don't be fooled by that. That regulation was a modified regulation to respond to a court that said, well, you can't regulate internet service providers unless you declare them not to be information services but to be carriers. And, of course, they are not information services. Google's an information service. The internet service provider is a carrier. It allows you, in effect, to make a phone call, just like any carrier, to Google and get the data from Google. So Google's an information service, and the definition of information service is something that modifies the information and then provides it to you. The carrier, ISP, is not supposed to. So in my mind, that was a very fair regulation and seemed to protect the internet quite well. But now that's gone. Its predecessor's gone. We've actually had net neutrality since the very beginning of the internet. That's gone. And it just remains to be seen how well behaved the internet service providers will be. Some, I think, will be fine. Smaller ones will be fine. The biggest ones, the ones we're worried about, are Comcast, Verizon, AT&T. These are the giants. And, AT&T said very famously, the CEO of AT&T said, we think Google should pay us for access to you. They want to charge a toll for Google. You want to watch YouTube? You won't, by the way. I'm not sure you'll see the fees. We've seen a lot of people say, oh, yeah, just now they're going to say, oh, you want our social media package? Just like the cable companies will do. You want our social media package? Well, that's going to cost you. You have to buy the bundle. You get the Facebook, you get the LinkedIn, you get the Instagram, the WhatsApp, but you have to buy the bundle. I don't think that's going to happen, but it might. We just have to watch these guys like a hawk. Because, they're kind of circling around saying, here's a chance to make some more money. Let's see how we can do this without raising everybody's ire. Their favorite way to do it is actually something customers like. T-Mobile does this. We call it zero rating because, well, it's just not confusing enough to the problem with defending the net neutrality and zero and killing zero rating is nobody understands what either term means. They're completely confusing. Zero rating is what T-Mobile does with its binge on, and others do this too. We won't charge you for some services. But that's kind of the same as we will charge you for some services, right? We won't charge you for watching YouTube, or we won't charge. Actually, they do charge you for YouTube, don't they? We won't charge you for Netflix, I think, is one of the freebies on T-Mobile, or Spotify. You don't have to pay for the bandwidth. But what that does, it puts T-Mobile in the role of picking winners and losers on the internet, and that's not what the internet's all about. The idea from the very earliest days of the internet was it's a way for people to share content without interference. And no, you can't. Internet service providers can't complain that they're not making enough money. They're making plenty of money. They're very profitable. We, in fact, have a very profitable internet industry and very poor internet in the United States. Thanks to them. Well, it might get worse. We just watch. We'll keep an eye out, right? You and I. Let's make that pledge. Keep them honest. And maybe the Congress and the courts will have something to do with that as well. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 8888-275-536. We can talk about this. Anything on your mind? No spoilers for the Star Wars movie. Nope. But we will talk tech right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Now, you've been answering the phones all day. All day. I'm so impressed. You've lined up so many people, but I'm sure one of them deserves to be first in line.
Well, Mike in Tinley Park? I can't even see my own writing. He's got a problem with his mobile carrier. And because he just bought the iPhone
already
10.
The internet neutrality, it's destroyed.
No, it's not that, but he's got a pretty interesting dilemma. So
all right.
Let's see if you can help him.
I will do my best. Thank you, Kim Schaffer. Hello, Mike in Tinley Park. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hi.
I got a question. Hopefully you can help me.
Okay.
I got T-Mobile, an Apple iPhone 10, 64 gig A1901 version, and with that phone, I pre-ordered it on pre-order day, got it on launch day, and it was when I got it from the Apple store, had a SIM card already, a T-Mobile SIM card already in there. I took it to T-Mobile, had them put my old SIM card from my Galaxy S7 in there, and it was working on the network. Asked them to put insurance on it, and they said that iPhone 10 64 gig is a bring-your-own-device phone, and they will not allow me to put the T-Mobile insurance that offers Apple Care on there. That they would sell if I bought.
Yeah, because you bought it from Apple, not from T-Mobile.
And I was just wondering, Apple tells me that it's a T-Mobile version of the iPhone.
Yeah, but that's not. But you bought it from Apple, so you can buy the Apple Care from Apple, though.
Oh, okay. So that's why they're.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's who you bought it from, not whose carrier, whose network you're on. And truthfully, the T-Mobile phone isn't really locked, so you could bring it somewhere else. That's why T-Mobile doesn't want to insure it. So and I never buy this stuff. In fact, when people ask me about extended warranties, I usually say, don't do it because it's a profit center for the company. It's buying insurance, you can self-insure, but this phone is so expensive to repair, and Apple was very careful to let everybody know before they released the phone that it's going to cost almost $300 if the screen breaks, $500 if the back breaks or anything else breaks. It's very expensive to repair the iPhone 10. So I think probably prudent to buy. And what you want to buy is Apple Care Plus, which is includes it's not just an extended warranty, it includes damage protection. And you should look at the rules. There's a deductible, there's a limited number of times you can do it, but it is so much less expensive. I never did the math on it, but I would guess that it would, if you broke it once, it would probably pay for itself, or it'd be close to break even. If you end up breaking it twice, you're going to be ahead of the game. But I don't break my phones very often. I'll probably break this one only because it's too pretty to put in a case. And really, you got to put it in a case. It's crazy not to put it in a case. In fact, I'm noticing already there's a little abrasion on the glass on the back corner. Probably that's where I slide it into things. Just a little bit of scratching. It's barely visible. The glass holds up pretty well, though. And I got the white version, which has a stainless steel. It looks like chrome, but it's actually stainless steel around the edge. And it looks pretty pristine as well. Stainless steel holds up pretty well. So, but I think maybe it's time to put the thing in a case. I feel like I'm really living in the year of living dangerously by not having this in a case. So get a case, and I think my recommendation is probably Apple Care Plus is worth it. It's expensive. It's a couple $100. It's just such a fragile phone. Steve Martin tweeted, "It's Apple made a phone that's made of olive glass, is slippery, and is made of glass." I ruined your joke, Steve. It is, and it's easy to drop. It's like Cinderella's glass slipper. It's just, probably shouldn't be making shoes or phones out of glass. So get the extended warranty. You have to get it from the merchant that sold it to you, regardless of what carrier. Tom, Madison, Wisconsin. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Tom.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy solstice.
There you go. Hey, I'm calling about a product I saw on the home shopping channels a couple weeks ago. It's like a port forwarding device that monitors your internet. It sits between your network cable and your router. There's a couple different ones.
Do you know who makes it?
Yeah, I've got a couple different ones. One's called Cujo, Cujo, and there's a Dojo, and then a Kiesel. And then a fourth one called Rat Trap.
Cujo, AI Internet Security Firewall from getcujo.com.
Yeah, it's like a smart firewall. Then they talk about, pricing. Then they talk about a possible...
I generally say don't buy technology on the home shopping network.
Right. So that's
but on the other hand, this Cujo, and I'm not familiar with it. This is a new category of device we're seeing a lot of. But you already have a smart firewall. It's your router. And I would probably say you'd be better off getting a router with good protections on it versus a separate internet security device. This is $250. What was the home shopping network selling it for? Do you remember?
It was, I believe, around $179.
Okay, so it's a discounted price. Yeah, and nowadays you can't really say with blanket assurance that you shouldn't buy technology on Home Shopping Network, because a number of technology companies realize the best way to get their word out is to do that. So Cujo has monitors network activity, prevents hacking and phishing, stop malware, set up parental control. So I would say that everything Cujo does, you could do for less with services like OpenDNS. That's a software service. You start using them as your DNS, and that does the same thing. And that is inexpensive, more inexpensive, OpenDNS.com. And a good router, many of the good routers, I'll mention Eero, which is one of those hot mesh routers. That's what we use at home. Also a sponsor, I should say. They offer all of the exact same protections. So I would say, rather than separate this out from your router, get a router that has it built in. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Basically, this is what a router does, although a lot of routers don't yet have the parental control stuff, but the Eero does, for instance. I guess I understand the theory behind it. Problem with something like this is, unless this company is going to be around for a while and is going to protect it and update it and continue to, and so that's, who knows? This is a new company doing new stuff. Maybe they'll be the winner. I wouldn't be the first to buy this. If they seem like they're going to do very well and they're going to be around, okay. But I know Eero will be around. I know Linksys will be around. I know the big router companies will be around. So many of the routers do this, and so the idea is I think the idea is fine. But your router has all of this capability, and OpenDNS does in software. Scott Wilkinson's here, our home theater guru. He joins us each week to talk about sound and vision. He's the editor at avsforum.com, and we were talking about the new Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. We promise no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Open nationwide on Friday. I'm sure, I haven't seen the box office. I'm sure it's doing very well. You saw it last night.
Actually, yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
It actually opened as you went on Thursday night, I think. Right?
There was a
fan thing.
Yeah, there was the first public showings were 6 p.m. Thursday night. I guess they could do that. They do. It's digital right now. They just kind of send it down the line to the theaters.
Actually, they send them a hard disk.
They send them a hard disk.
They actually send them a physical hard disk, and they plug that into the projector, and it plays from there.
Yeah. The projector is just a big computer.
That's what it is. That's what it is. You had some problems.
Yeah, our projector. They have a Christie.
The projector crashed. Well,
which is pretty typical DLP projector, and it was a nice Atmos theater.
Yep.
In fact, our local theater has done something I think theaters across the country are starting to do with the reclining seating and the tray in front of you, and all reserved too. So we bought those tickets a month ago, but didn't have to wait in line, which I really appreciated. Yeah,
I love that. I bought my ticket 2 months ago. And still, even then, my favorite seat was already booked. So.
Oh, yeah, we were in the back. We were in the back row. But that was useful because I could see into the projection booth and watch them try to fix the projector when it
scrambling around
twice.
Well, listen, you weren't the only one. At the AMC Burbank 16, which is the theater I go to with a Dolby Cinema, on Thursday night at the 10 o'clock showing, there was no dialogue for the first 10 minutes of the movie.
That kind of ruins it.
Oh, man.
What's going on?
It got so bad that the crowd, and they wouldn't restart the movie because they had another showing at like 1:20 in the morning, the next showing.
Oh, come on.
And so they got they almost had a riot in the lobby. The police had to be called.
Wow. Well, our theater, to their credit, even though we saw the full film a couple of times, gave us free passes for for another showing, and so they handle it nicely. But I'd paid I think $22 for the fan event, and they gave us you get a free Coke and a popcorn,
right?
You get specials, decals and stuff. Now what was it filmed in? First of all,
believe it or not, I was amazed. I stayed till the end of the credits, and I think you mentioned that,
I wish I
really
had.
Yes, but
because I guess there's a tribute to Carrie Fisher at the end.
Well, all there is no, there isn't. It's just a dedicated to our Princess Carrie Fisher.
Of course,
so it's no big deal.
Actually, in the movie itself, and of course, she died after they finished principal filming.
Correct.
But in the movie, and I suspect they did this in editing. There's a very poignant kind of the last vision of her.
Yes,
it's as if they knew this is
Yes, and I'm sure they must have tweaked that a bit.
I suspect they did. Yeah.
At the very end of the movie, I was astonished to read that it was shot on film.
What?
It was shot on 35mm film. I don't know.
Not even 35mm. Not even like super.
Not even 70mm. Yeah, that's what it said. That's what it said.
Odd.
I was amazed at that. The other thing that I was kind of amazed at, I went specifically to Dolby Cinema, right?
Was it shot in 3D?
No,
it was an after. Okay, see, that's another reason I don't want to see it in 3D.
Yep.
Didn't have
Unlike James Cameron, which shoots stuff in 3D.
Yeah.
With twin cameras mounted on rigs, so that you actually have that perspective from the beginning. But no, this was converted by Stereo D, I believe, as I recall, one of the main stereo conversion.
I was deeply sorry. I have to say, I hope 2017 was the year 3D TVs died. Nobody made a 3D TV this year.
No.
I hope 2018 will be the year 3D in the theaters dies. It just ruins movies for me.
IMAX made an announcement that they are backing away from 3D. Not as many movies are going to be shown in 3D in IMAX theaters.
Who's asking for, if a movie wasn't shot in 3D, who the heck wants it to be fake 3D? And the problem is, at least with Real D, which is how we saw it, everything's dark.
So dim.
You have to wear it's like saying, okay, you can watch this movie, but you have to wear sunglasses.
Yeah, right.
Why?
Now, in an IMAX 3D, they have enough light coming off the projector, so that it's not as dim, especially in the IMAX laser theaters.
Yeah, I wish I'd seen it that way.
And
and you can see it in 6-track IMAX. It is available.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I saw it in Dolby Cinema, which has Dolby Vision high dynamic range. And I was expecting it to be really great. But it wasn't.
It's film.
I was amazed.
Again, that's the conversion.
They converted it to digital, and they could have easily graded it or mastered it to be in high dynamic range. but it was barely that. I mean, they had a little thing at the beginning, what they call a sizzle reel for Dolby Vision. And you've probably seen it, where the screen goes black at the end and then the words come up and says, yes, the projector is still on. And then immediately after that, you get the star field from the opening of Star Wars.
Nice.
And the black level raised considerably.
Oh, you could see it happen.
I could see it happen. The black of space, right? I mean, it's Star Wars. There's a ton of scenes in outer space, and the black of space was not black, not like I expect it to be in Dolby Vision high dynamic range. So I was pretty disappointed in that. I will say that the movie itself I liked a lot better than The Force Awakens. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but I did enjoy the movie more than I did the previous one. And of course, it's a tearjerker to know that that's Carrie Fisher's last role, and so on and so forth. But the Atmos sound was very good. You heard it in Atmos, right?
Yeah, and some people in the chat room said that they saw it in Atmos. It was unbearably loud, but that's up to the theater. It was not unbearably loud. It sounded just fine. It was just right.
I measured it, as I do always, and it came out almost exactly at what's called reference level.
Oh, good. So you went to see it in a good theater, but I would expect that in Burbank.
Yeah, exactly. Media Central.
Yeah, you better do it right. Here I am in little Chicken Town, Petaluma, but they did get it right. Mm-hmm. I think it was set just right. I didn't have a meter, but it sounded fine to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There were some loud moments, of course.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the sound was very good. The Atmos was very good. This high dynamic range, though, really disappointed me. I'm bummed about that. I've gotten some other. I wrote a review as soon as I got home. I wrote a review and posted it on AVS Forum, and the review doesn't have any spoilers either. So I encourage you to go check it out. I talk mostly about the technology involved because that's what I'm about, And so some of the comments on that were, I saw it in a Dolby Cinema and the blacks looked fine. So I thought, wow, could that have been like? But there were some other comments from people who said, yeah, they agree that the black level looked kind of elevated. So I don't know what's going on there. That was kind of disappointing.
Of course, now that presumably Disney's acquisition of Fox goes through the 20th Century Fox, they'll now own all of the Star Wars movies, including the original Star Wars movie. Plus, they now own all of Marvel. They're reunited, and I'm just thinking it's only a matter of time before we see the Hulk in the Millennium Falcon. I just feel like that's coming, don't you think?
Yeah. I think the cross-pollination of superheroes.
That's when I'll stop going to see Star Wars movies. They have to preserve the canon. They can't mess with the canon.
They can't mess with the canon. Certainly not the Star Wars canon.
If you're a Star Wars fan, nobody needs to tell you. You have to see this film.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. And I thought Rian Johnson did a good job.
What's the best theater? What would be the best theater experience? IMAX?
Well, I would have said Dolby Cinema. I haven't seen it in IMAX. I might go back and see it in IMAX.
They didn't shoot it in IMAX. It'll be an upconvert.
No, they didn't. So I still think Dolby Cinema is probably your best bet.
Yeah. Scott Wilkinson, avsforum.com. He was about to say something else, but I've cut him off. Next week, Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
I saw the time running down.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So what were you about to say?
Now I can't remember.
No, of course not. Actually, halfway through, and I hope this is not a spoiler, but halfway through, I leaned over to Lisa and said, "This is horrible. I'm so disappointed."
In what? In the movie?
Yeah. But then by the end of it, I felt much better about it. I feel there were some script issues. At one point, there's a line, "I want to punch my fist through this beautiful city." And I thought, that is the worst. Yeah, that is the worst line I've ever heard. What the hell is...
Yeah, that's...
Anyway, they just...
I agree.
I think there were some boners in the script, some mistakes made in the script. But, the material triumphs, and it is really, by the end, I felt like, wow, that was great. So
yes. Now I did feel the movie was a little too long.
It's 2.5 hours, and
it's the longest Star Wars movie.
And it feels long at the beginning. I feel like that's maybe where it was. It was very plot heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
And there was a point, and I'm not going to give a spoiler here, but there's a point at probably about the 2-hour mark that I thought, okay, good, that's the end of the movie.
No.
And then it keeps going.
No.
Yeah.
It got generally very positive reviews. I would say it is not one of the best Star Wars movies.
No, I'd have to
Nor is
agree.
it one of the worst, because there are some really bad ones.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to be one of the worst.
Well, I thought The Force Awakens was really one of the worst. I just thought that was.
I really liked it.
Did you?
With the exception of that it wasn't original. It was exactly the same. It was.
It's the same story.
The same
That's what bugged me.
We
about
talked
it,
about that at the time.
Yeah. That's 2 years ago now. Believe it or not.
I know. Rian Johnson, I thought may not be the best choice as a director. I would have liked to see somebody a little more accomplished doing that.
And that he's now been tapped. Of course, that could change for
me.
the next trilogy.
Ooh.
He's not going to do the next one. He's not going to do episode 9, but apparently he's going to do 10, 11, and 12.
Holy cow!
I know.
He's got
or at least that's the way
he's
it
got
is
his
now.
work cut out for him. They've had trouble with directors. They fired 2 directors on the next one, and now Ron Howard is doing it. I think, but
is he really? Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Well, Ron Howard's doing one of them. Yeah.
Well, that would be good because I always like Ron Howard stuff.
Yeah. I'm sad that J.J. Abrams is not. But you didn't like.
Executive.
Yeah, you
I didn't like.
it.
I didn't like.
So,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, I thought he did a good
So
job with The Force Awakens, but
he's now the executive producer.
Yeah,
he got executive producer credit.
Yeah. Lord and Miller were fired.
Right.
See, I think we could trust Kathleen Kennedy to watch out for the canon. I hope.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I do believe you're right.
The Han movie is Ron Howard. Okay.
Okay, that's
JJ's doing episode 9. So Rian Johnson's going to do like what 10? What is I don't know what comes out.
10, 11, and
10,
12.
11, 12. Okay.
The next trilogy. They're going to do Star Wars movies till the end of time.
Till long after I'm gone. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they, as you know, at the end of the movie, they set it up for a long future.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? That actually was a great final shot. I thought that was a great final shot. Do you know
I
what
agree.
I'm talking about? Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
We do not want to tell people about it though. I will say I was totally bummed by the guy next to me who had to get up and leave in the middle of the movie, and then he came back with a hot dog.
Oh, please.
I know.
Oh, please.
And then after the movie's over, he's leaving, and he goes, "Good movie, huh?" And I was so tempted to say, "Yeah, it would have been a lot better if
without
you
the
hadn't
hot
interrupted."
dog, dude." All right, you're going to stick around for the top of the hour?
Sure, yeah, happy to.
See you then, thanks. Did we do it? Were we able to do that whole segment on Star Wars The Last Jedi without a spoiler? I think we did. I hope we did. People, it's funny. When did spoiler alerts become the thing? It seems to me the internet is what spawned all of this because, social media and so forth. I did not want to see anything. I did not want to know anything about the movie before I saw it. So I didn't watch the trailers. I avoided all reviews. And fortunately, I saw it at when it first came out, so I didn't have to worry too much about Twitter. But I bet you now, if you haven't seen it, you got to stop looking at Twitter and Facebook and all that. It's spoiler central out there. That's why I guess that's why we have all that outrage over spoilers. I don't remember that as a kid so much. Let's go to line 3. Jay's in Los Angeles. Hello, Jay. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have a Echo Dot and a Harmony system, and it works on some of the things, but I'm having an unusual issue where it'll say okay and then not do anything.
Yeah, that happens when it doesn't understand. Sometimes it says I can't help you, and sometimes it just. In fact, my experience with Echoes particularly is they frequently don't do anything. They just go blip. The thing to do that would help maybe a little bit is to turn on the sound. Well, I turn on both sounds. The sounds when you begin a command and the sound when you end a command. That way I know that the dot is activated, and I know that it then heard me. But then and nothing happens after that, it didn't understand. Now, you know what you need to do is open the app I can't call it the A word, so I'm going to call it the Hoo-Hoo app. Open the Hoo-Hoo app on your phone, and you can see previous commands. You can see what it said. In fact, you can even make it smarter, what it thought you said, and you can even make it smarter by saying, no, that's not what I said. It asks you, did we get it right? So if you get no response from your Echo, open the app, the Echo app on your phone, and look at that particular Echo. If you have more than one, you go in settings and pick the one that you were talking to, and see what it thought you said. That seems to be the best way to. But I think that's a. I know with the Google Home, if it doesn't understand, it will say Siri. If she doesn't understand, she will say. But that is one feature of Echo I'm not crazy about, which is that if it gets it wrong, it may not say. So I'm looking at my Echo commands, and there's timers and stuff. This shows the music I played, but actually it's not currently showing the command. Oh, maybe if I tap, there's a more button. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to see the last command, what it did, and then voice feedback, and it'll say, Echo heard, set timer for 15 minutes. Did Echo hear you correctly? Yes. So that's how you know what Echo heard. Echo heard, listen to Christmas music on Pandora. Did Echo hear you correctly? Yes. In fact, it might help get it more accurate if you go through that. I presume it will. I mean, it's trying to figure it out. Incidentally, this is an interesting skill to know because you can see what your spouse is listening to. Wait a minute, honey. You said you hated country music. That kind of thing. Scott in Arlington, Texas, home of the Texas Rangers. Hi, Scott.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well. You have a beautiful ballpark down there. I've been there. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's great. Yep. They're building a new one to replace it.
What?
Yeah.
I'm getting old because when I went down there, it was brand new. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. They're putting a covered one in place.
Well, it does get hot down there. I guess it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, we get a little warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I went down there a couple of weeks ago, and they had already broken ground, and there's just a big old hole in the ground where huge parking lot used to be.
I tell you, is it the same company though? Because they do beautiful ball yards. I just really love the brick walls.
Oh yeah, I think so. I'm not real certain. I do have a friend that's on the architectural team, but I've never really asked about it.
Yeah. Well, what can I do for you? Enough baseball talk. What about computers and technology and stuff?
I'm afraid my hard drive's about to fail on my computer, so I started backing it up thoroughly.
Good.
And I noticed I've got 12,000 some odd photos, and I guarantee you there's not more than 4,000 that are original.
Yep. That happens.
How do I screen out all those extras?
Well, the real trick on this, you don't want to delete the only copy of some photos, right? So you have to really be careful. Deduplication, in fact, we're just talking about this with the Carbonite ad, is tricky. It has to be done carefully to preserve originals without keeping too many files. So what you're looking for is a program that won't just look at the name of the file or the date of the file, but actually look at the data of the file. And that way, it can deduplicate it with, for instance, if you took a photo, as I do, an original, and then modified it, with Lightroom or a photo editor or Picasso or whatever, I want both.
Oh, I don't do that. So
yeah, but there's lots of ways this can happen.
Right. I know Google Photos has a deal where they automatically do some of that.
Yeah, you want something that's going to. This is what you're looking for. Something that's going to do a CRC or a hash on the photo to literally analyze the file's data. And you can say whether it would be have to be 100% the same or fuzzy, which is really cool, because then it says, well, that's a modification of the original, and give you a chance to delete those. So there's a lot of them. I'm going to recommend one that's actually has a free version. It's called Fast Duplicate File Finder. It's from MindGems.
Cool. Easy name.
Yeah, FDFF. Is what the kids call it, FDFF. And it's very smart about looking in the file and giving you parameters to say, well, it has to be an exact match, which I would want, or because you don't care, well, it has to be a close match. In other words, look like the same photo, but maybe slightly modified, cropped, or whatever. So that's what you're going to look for. There are a lot of programs that can do this. Do make sure I would, if I were you, back up everything once. Hard drive storage is cheap. Then you can do the dedupe, just in case, in a year you go, oh, where's that picture? I remember that great picture of the old ballpark before they tore it down. And you say, oh, man, I must have deduped it.
Well, you're going to be happy. I don't think they're tearing down the old one.
Oh, good. They have two. One for cool days, one for hot days. Maybe nowadays you might even have two teams. Who knows? Hey, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for calling. Go Rangers. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's from mindgems.com. And just one of many. But this one does that key thing. Now, the free version is maybe not as smart in terms of the fuzzy part. They do, both versions look into the file, but if you get the Pro version, it lets you say, it says it uses advanced algorithms while searching for similar files and provides accurate results. It uses binary comparison algorithm and internal preview supporting, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, enough of that, because you know who's here? Mr. Scott Wilkinson. Woohoo. All yours.
Okay, there we go. Hey, everybody. 425 seconds left. Hey, Beattree, Beatmaster. Beatmaster, get ready for the next Star Wars movie. R-rated and written by Tarantino. Yeah, well, I tend to doubt that, but you never know. So this is, I believe, my last appearance here in 2017. Dr. Mom, good to see you. Good to see everybody here. It's been quite a year, hadn't it? Anybody have any other questions while we're waiting? Beatmaster, not Star Wars, Star Trek. Oh, it's official, the next Star Trek movie? I misread it. Sorry, Beatmaster. The next Star Trek movie, R-rated and written by Tarantino. It's really official? I have to go look that up. I can't imagine that even Star Trek would go that direction. That's pretty amazing. Hey, CRL or CR1? Anyway, Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah to everybody of the Jewish persuasion. I think we're about in the middle of it at this point. User 1646 asks, what LG OLED model do I recommend? Well, if you're on a budget and you can't wait until probably mid next year, the B7 or the C7, which are, I think, essentially the same price. But either one of those are going to be the one to get. No question about it. UJ, have I heard of the Super Emax Theater? No. You mean IMAX? Beatmaster has sent me a link to Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek. Oh man. Okay, I got to read that. CO Bra, any predictions for 2018 home theater? Well, we're going to see some interesting things at CES. No doubt about that. We're going to see a lot more HDR TVs. We're going to see, I'm not even looking at full, what do they call it? Full high definition, FHD, 1080p in other words. There are a few of those, but there aren't going to be many. Almost all of them are 4K. We are going to see 8K TVs at CES, I'm pretty sure. We've seen those for a number of years as technology demonstrations, but I think they might actually be closer to being products. I think it's silly to have 8K TV because there's no content. There won't be for a long time, except for certain special things like the Olympics. Korea will have, and Japan will have the 2018 and 2020 Olympics being broadcast in a limited way in 8K, but we're not going to see it here. There's no streaming 8K. There's not going to be a disc 8K. So, there's not going to be broadcast 8K. ATSC 3.0 is technically capable of it, but no one's going to do it. That's going to mean another infrastructure changeover from HD that they just did now from HD to 4K. So it ain't going to happen. So don't buy an 8K TV. We're going to see them, but it ain't going to happen. There's no reason to buy one. Let's see. Graveyard Tuba is asking your thoughts on the 4K player in the Xbox One. I haven't tried it myself, so I can't really say.
It's gorgeous, darling.
Is it good?
Yeah, I mean it's a standard UHD HDR Blu-ray player. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I've used it in the Xbox One and the One X. The One X looks so great with 4K. That's what I watched Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk on.
What did you think of the 60 frames per second?
It's kind of weird.
It is unusual.
At first, it was very disturbing. I think we talked about it. At first, I was pulled out of the movie. Yeah. But then I watched it again. Mm-hmm. And it was okay. It worked for me. So I think we will get used to it.
That's the key right there. We're not used to it. As a society, we're used to 24 frames per second.
Yeah, that was kind of the question in my head. But, it looks real.
It looks real.
It's like you're really there.
That's right.
And we watched The Crown last night in 4K HDR on Netflix. Stunning.
Oh, that must have looked great.
Stunning. It's the most expensive TV show ever made, which I didn't realize.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And I don't know. I couldn't figure out why. Watching it, you wouldn't probably notice on a normal, HD set. But in 4K, you see the amount of detail is perfect. Everything's perfect.
Yeah. And the HDR makes it just look amazing, I'm sure.
It's truly gorgeous.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance, that's a show to see on Netflix in HDR. It's really, really gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely. Happy Hanukkah to Loquacious. Always great to see you, and wish you a happy Hanukkah. Let's see. Dave C. Should we use the Bitstream or PCM input audio format for HDMO? I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. HDMI, maybe? Should we use Bitstream or PCM? That depends on how well each device decodes the Bitstream into PCM. Try it both ways and see which one you like better. I bet you won't hear much of a difference. Net neutrality gone. Well, I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly don't. Web1333, any comments on the new Visa display HDR standard? I don't know about that. I'll have to look that up. I'm sure I'll find out about it at CES, but I'll look it up before then. Thanks for the little tip there.
I stand corrected. The Crown at $13 million per episode is number 3.
Oh.
A show that's not out yet, The Get Down, is $16 million.
Holy smokes.
And I haven't seen this either. The Pacific, which is the Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks HBO sequel to Band of Brothers, $20 million an episode.
Oh, man.
I don't think either one is out yet. I haven't seen either one yet.
No.
All right, Scott.
All right.
Thank you, my
Merry
friend.
Christmas.
Merry
New
Christmas.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Hanukkah.
Have a great one. We'll see you next year.
See you next year.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Hour 2 of the Tech Guy Extravaganza. We talk about computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and smartphones and smartwatches. We don't spend a lot of time talking about social media, although that is, these days, probably the number one thing people do. I'd have to see stats, but I would guess, it used to be for years, the number one thing people did on the internet was email. More than the web, more than playing Scrabble, more than watching Netflix, email. That's got to be a dated figure now. And I don't know. I mean, Netflix is up there, right? I mean, that counts, right? Because you're watching that over the internet. I'm sure people watch often hours a night of Netflix. I do. But social media, I'd be my guess that Facebook, particularly, Twitter maybe, a big component, if not the number one thing people do in terms of just hours wasted on the internet. Facebook released a kind of self-serving study this week, actually yesterday. Is spending time on social media bad for us? It was a study. The report comes from the director of research at Facebook, David Ginsburg, and a research scientist at Facebook, Moira Burke. And I think their heart's in the right place. It's good to ask this question. Surprising that Facebook would ask it. Is spending time on social media bad for us? Until you read their conclusions. It turns out, yes, it is bad for you if you passively consume it. When people spend a lot of time passively consuming information, reading but not interacting, they report feeling worse afterwards. In one experiment, University of Michigan students randomly assigned to read Facebook for 10 minutes were in a worse mood at the end of the day. The good? The students who were assigned to post or talk to friends on Facebook felt better than those ones. A study from UC San Diego and Yale found people who clicked on about 4 times as many links as the average person or who liked twice as many posts reported worse mental health than average in a survey. This is bad news for Facebook. So they managed to find some good studies. A study we conducted, says Facebook, with Robert Kraut at Carnegie Mellon, found that people who sent or received more messages, comments, and timeline posts reported an improvement in social support, depression, and loneliness. In other words, says Facebook, if you don't interact, if you don't post content, you're going to have a bad time. But if you participate, you're going to feel great. That's a little self-serving. Do you feel better after you spend time on Facebook, whether you post or not? I guess it would make sense. You'd feel better if you're, posting stuff. I know I don't feel great after I read my Facebook timeline. I feel worse after I read my Twitter timeline. It's like, ay. You know what makes you feel really good? Your mom was right. Get outside, get some fresh air, take a walk, play catch, play some volleyball. Just look around. I guarantee you'll feel better than either passively or actively consuming content on Facebook. It's so surprising. Obviously they didn't put that in the tests. No, they only tested whether you felt better posting and not posting. They didn't. In sum, says Facebook, our research and other academic literature suggests it's about how you use social media that matters when it comes to your well-being. Boy. Oh, boy. Next, wait for the study that says, it's dangerous if you spend too much time outside. You could get skin cancer or somebody could knock you on the head. Stay indoors. Participate more in Facebook. Did you know studies say people who listen to the tech guy on the radio, or any radio for that matter, are happier than people who don't? Did you know that? I'm sure I could compose a study that says it. 8888 Ask Leo. Carlton, Ontario, Canada. Hello, Carlton.
Hi, how's it going? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to the Great White North.
Thank you.
What's up in Ontario these days?
Well, I know you've talked about it before. I'm looking for excellent audio, loud, portable speaker. I was going for the Riva Festival.
Yeah, that's very good. A lot of people like that a lot.
But it's not sold in Canada.
Oh, that's the loudest. That is probably the loudest one you can get.
I need it for a Latin ballroom dance class.
Oh, how neat. So you do need loud. Does it have to be portable, though? I mean, couldn't you bring a PA system with you and plug it in?
If it's portable, that would be great.
Yeah, those are obviously gonna do better. And in general, as you I'm sure know, the bigger the speaker, the louder it can get. The better the sound. All other things being equal. I'm going to refer you to an article I just read on the Wirecutter. Came out a couple of months ago on the best Bluetooth speakers. The Wirecutter is a great site. It was started by a guy named Brian Lamb, who's at Gizmodo for years. He said, the problem with the reviews we do on the gadget blogs is we tell you 20 different products. And what the Wirecutter, when it first started, what the idea was, we'll tell you the one we recommend. And then maybe some others. So The best home Bluetooth speaker, small enough, I think, for you to carry it around, they say, is Peachtree Audio's Deep Blue 2. Now, it's not cheap. It's $400, but it's big. It's 440 watts, which means you're going to get, I think, loud enough to fill a ballroom. Mm-hmm. And they say the sound quality is excellent, but it weighs 16 pounds. I don't know if that's okay or not.
Oh, it's fine. I don't want to sacrifice quality.
There's a definite correlation. You know, I like, for instance, I carry around the Fugu Bluetooth wireless speakers. You can put that in your pocket, but it's not going to fill a room. So there is definitely a relationship between size and quality. If you want to save money, they say the Marshall from the speaker amp folks, the Acton, A-C-T-O-N, and that's half the price of the Deep Blue, of the Deep Blue 2, and it sounds fairly good, and it says at higher volume levels it might get a little muddy, but you know that's exactly what you pay for and what size gives you is a crisper, louder sound. I think for you the closest thing to, and you see people do this all the time. They put it on a hand truck and they carry in the PA speaker and they plug it in. Certainly when I've gone ballroom dancing, that's what I see. But if you don't want to get that quite that big, and 16 pounds is a lot less, you could carry that in. You know, put that in the trunk of your car, carry it in, 16 pounds, no big deal. Peachtree Audio Deep Blue 2. Now, I'm quoting the Wirecutter here, which is, by the way, now owned by the New York Times. But I do absolutely trust them. I can't. The problem is I've tried a lot of Bluetooth speakers and powered speakers. I like my Bose battery-powered Bluetooth speaker, but I can't try enough of them to cover all these cases. And one thing I haven't tried is the larger ones. The one I'm looking for is the one I can throw in my luggage and take on a travel around. Audio Engine is very good. Twisted Mister reminds me, and I have many Audio Engine speaker systems. I really like them. They do make a Bluetooth receiver that works pretty well. I have a pair of JBL speakers that sound very good that you can carry around and power by Bluetooth. But I'm gonna absolutely have to go with the Wirecutter's recommendation because they do test them all. They do. 8888 Ask Leo. Maybe you have a recommendation. That's one of the reasons I like doing this show. I can hear and learn from all of you. So give us a ring if you've got a better choice or something you're using. 888-827-5536. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Actually, a lot of recommendations coming out of the chat room. Here's bnaudio.com. Harman Kardon makes that's Harman Kardon, isn't it? That's interesting. Oh, no, the Harman Kardon Onyx Studio, that's only $200. That's half the price. That looks pretty nice, and Harman makes good stuff, too. But what we're looking for is quality loud with good bass. And I'm reading the review on that Deep Blue 2. That sounds like the best thing out there. Looks like it's about the size of a Sonos speaker. 440 watts is a lot of juice to be pouring into a speaker. Deep bass response without skipping on the high and mid-range sound. No matter what we listened on it, the Deep Blue 2 made our music sound great, offering excellent aural separation, a wide sound stage. It automatically adjusts EQ to balance high, low, and mid-range frequencies, keeping its overall sound natural. You could sit it on a bookshelf, side table, or countertop without looking cumbersome. For the price, nothing can touch it. That's pretty much of a rave review. $400 for the Deep Blue 2. And it's currently unavailable. And you know why that is? Anytime the Wirecutter recommends something like that, bam, they're sold out. They're sold out. That's kind of amazing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Sandman in the chat room says he has one of these Peachtree Deep Blue 2s, and he says he loves it. Hard to find, though. This always happens. When the Wirecutter recommends something, and this was a rave review, they're sold out. So it's out of stock at Peachtree Audio's site, out of stock on Amazon, but search around. They say maybe some retailers will still have stock. It does look like the loudest, most powerful Bluetooth speaker out there. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Ron, Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Ron.
Hey, Leo. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, sir. Thank you.
Hey, I called you a couple of weeks back where my PC power supply died, and it was the power supply.
It was. Okay, that was our suspicion. Good.
Yeah, but
Good.
Hey, new question. Got running Windows 10, and I think since the last big update or whatever, every time I power up the PC, and I normally do a shutdown every night, just a normal shutdown, some of my apps auto restart, even though I tell it. And I was wondering, maybe the chat room can tell me, is there an option maybe in Cortana or something? I've searched everywhere I could to say, why is this thing doing an auto start?
Well, so first of all, Windows has at least 3 ways to auto start something. There's probably more. There's an auto start folder. There's the registry, which is hard for you to modify. If a program's auto starting, I always look in the taskbar. Down in the lower right, if there's an icon there and you right-click on it and then find the menu, often in the options, it could say, do not start at boot or do not start at login. A lot of applications like to do that. And I don't like that. I'm with you. I don't want all those applications running in the background. And usually it's self-serving. Sometimes it's functional. They need to run your email program. You might say, well, I got to get mail all the time. But sometimes it's just to put an icon on your taskbar or your desktop to remind you the program's there, and I don't like that one bit. So I'll give you the power tool that covers all the possible ways something can auto run on a Windows machine, and it comes from Microsoft. Some time ago, there was a guy named Mark Rusinovich who had a little company. He wrote the best little utilities. It was called Sysinternals. You might remember it. Microsoft was so impressed with Rusinovich, they bought the company, continued to offer for free all the programs that he made, and then they made him head of engineering at Microsoft Azure, their cloud services. They knew a smart guy when they saw one. He's also a darn good novelist. He writes some of the best hacker, fiction thrillers based on, computer hacking that anybody's ever written, partly because he knows what he's talking about. He knows his stuff. So if you Google auto runs, that's plural, AUTORUNS, you'll find it at Microsoft's Sysinternals site. And that lists everything that starts up. It knows every kind of program that starts up and gives you the option to take it out of the startup. It looks in the startup folder. It looks in run once. It looks in the registry keys, for run and run once. It looks for all the places. There are lots of ways that a program can auto start. And I would strongly suggest if you want to, if looking in the options menu, which is something you could do right now for that program and not finding a way to turn that off, then I would get auto runs. It's just a good thing. In fact, frankly, I would download all the Sysinternals utilities, Process Explorer. Actually, there's quite a few. Probably don't need to download all of them, but he has file utilities, networking utilities, security utilities. Just in the process utilities alone, there's auto run, handle, list DLLs, Portmon, Proc Dump, Process Explorer. That's a good one. Process Monitor, PS Exec. I don't even know what some of these are. Shell Run As, VM Map. So get auto runs and maybe Process Explorer. Process Explorer is nice because you can see auto runs tells you what startup. Process Explorer though is its kind of sister program that will let you know what's running in the background and what resources it's using. So you can go. Somebody's saying you can go to the task manager and there's a startup tab in there and you can enable or disable. That's true, but I think it maybe doesn't catch quite as many things as auto runs. Auto runs is pretty amazing. So that'd be my recommendation. And you're right, you don't want those things starting up, especially if it's just so they could put an ad up on the screen or on the taskbar. Jim in Bend, Oregon's next. Hi, Jim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. It's been a couple months since I talked to you. I got a Galaxy S8 phone when I talked to you last, and because of the beautiful screen it has, I'm interested in downloading some of the Android apps onto my Windows 10 PC. I wonder if you have any recommendations for Android app emulators.
Yeah, there's BlueStacks, which is probably the best known. None of these, I've tried several of them. There's even, actually one of them I think is gone. BlueStacks is still around. None of them work as well as one would hope. But they might let you run some particular applications that you like. So take a look at BlueStacks. It's BlueStacks.com. And last I tried it, I think it was free. I think it's free. And that will give you the Play Store, and it'll give you many apps. Not all apps will work.
Great. When I was looking at some of those things, I noticed that I think it's Asus has a computer that runs Snapdragon 835.
This is the new thing. Microsoft announced this this week. It's called Windows on ARM, or Whoa. And Microsoft's been working on this for some time. So Android runs on ARM processors generally. So an Android app is designed to run on ARM. So yeah, I would guess, but I haven't seen this yet, but I would guess they would run better. BlueStacks would run better on one of these Windows on ARM processors, based on the Snapdragon.
Yeah, I was wondering if it automatically would bounce back and forth between Android and Windows 10.
In theory, it could. In practice, I doubt it does.
Okay.
BlueStacks does because it's an emulator. It takes the Intel processor that your Windows machine's running currently and emulates ARM. ARM is very different from Intel. So it's emulation always involves an extra layer and slows things down a little bit. But your processor's so fast, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. We'll see. It's one thing we don't know about yet, and those Windows on ARM computers won't be out till early next year. When we see those, though, I'll be very curious. What does that mean for Android apps on Windows 10? Don't know. Microsoft had for a while a bridge designed for making Android apps run on Windows 10, or at least making it easy for developers to take their Android apps and move them to Windows 10. They killed it. So I don't know what Microsoft's long-term strategy is. My guess is it's something we've talked about before, progressive web apps that mean apps can work anywhere. And Microsoft's all in on this, Google's all in on this, and many Android apps will end up becoming progressive web apps. They start as websites, but they download bits and pieces to your computer, and they can run offline on your computer. In the next few years, I think that is probably the most likely way you're going to put apps on your systems going forward. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, that computer is from 2014. I mean, this article is from 2014. The scene has changed a lot. In fact, this isn't even complete. There's other stuff too. But BlueStacks, I think, is the one that's probably the right one to do. Our show today brought to you by GoToWebinar. I talked about this. It's funny. It's kind of a coincidence. I talked about this, I think, last week or the week before on the radio show. Somebody was asking for a way to present to multiple people, and GoToWebinar is fantastic. It is a solution I've used. I've actually done webinars with GoToWebinar. The idea is you, or actually up to 6 different presenters, can talk to an unlimited number of people in real time and live presentations, but they're also recorded so they can be done on demand. And the on-demand presentations can be made every bit as interactive, as fun, as real as a live presentation. That's one of the things GoToWebinar is really good at. GoToWebinar last year, 2.7 million events. How many a day is that? That's a lot. That's like, 9,000 events a day or something. That's huge. 60 million views a year. GoToWebinar says webinars, and I agree, are one of the best ways to interact with prospects if you're in sales, customers if you've got a company, or even colleagues, even people you just want to teach. Great way to do a class for business presentations, for company websites. It makes it very easy for you to start it, as with all the products from the GoTo folks. You can create custom email invitations, confirmations, and reminders. You can have automated email templates, send out invites, Display your company logo and your custom image on all the webinar material. Invites, yes, but everything. So it's really branded with your company, not with GoToWebinar. Create and schedule pre-recorded webinars that are every bit as good as a live event. I love that feature. Mobile friendly too, both for you as a presenter and for your viewer. You can schedule a webinar, you can edit a session, you can track performance from your iOS or Android device. I guess my favorite feature is the polls, because one of the things when you're talking to a large group, you know, it's not always obvious, especially if they're not in the room with you, which they're not, that whether they're paying attention, whether they're interested, whether you're in the right area. The polls make this, you know, a snap. You can create them ahead of time. You can have up to 20 polls per webinar. Maybe you're explaining Bitcoin. You're saying, I don't know, are they getting this? You do an on-the-fly poll, and you can find out. You can have 20 polls with up to 20 questions each. Surveys, engage participants. Let's see, I mentioned the 6 presenters. They can share their webcams so that you can see them in the presentation, but they also can share their desktops or a specific application. And you're going to get great analytics, which is a great way to get leads, qualified leads, but metrics, data that makes your webinars better. It's all encrypted, 128-bit AES, end-to-end, #1 in customer satisfaction. So turn your next presentation into a conversation with GoToWebinar. For more information, go to gotowebinar.com/podcast. That's gotowebinar.com/podcast. gotowebinar.com/podcast. I see Mr. Jet. So he's been to everywhere, but where is he today? I don't know. Johnny Jet, our travel guru, helps us travel better with technology. Where are you, John?
I'm in Mississauga, Canada, at the Mindshare Workspace, which is in a mall, the Erin Mills Town Center. I'm Christmas shopping with my family.
Oh, my God. We took you away from Santa?
Yes, we actually got a picture with Santa, but, you know, instead of running home, these guys are kind enough to let me use their facilities.
Thank you, Mindshare. And Mississauga is up in the North Country. Is that about where Natalie, your wife, is from?
That's right. It's about 20 miles from Toronto?
Yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
I think I did a book signing out there. Oh, no, it was in Etobicoke. But anyway, nearby.
It's freezing. We landed here yesterday. It looks like it's going to be a white Christmas. There's snow everywhere.
Oh, that's nice. You're going to stay there with the family through Christmas?
No, I'm getting on a plane on Tuesday, but
man.
I will be back for Christmas.
You are, as they say, peripatetic. That's my word for you, peripatetic.
That's why my name's Johnny Jet.
Because you go everywhere, traveling, peripatetic, traveling from place to place, especially working or based in various places for relatively short periods. Mr. Johnny Jet. Now, he joins us every week to talk about traveling better with technology. You're doing one thing right now. Had to get on a Skype call, found a shared co-working place, and you're doing it. Let's give him another plug. Market. What is it called?
Mindshare Workspace.
Mindshare Workspace. Nice.
In Mississauga at the Erin Mills Town Center.
Very nice.
And you know, it's pretty cool. They got a 3D printing machine. They also have this touch board, which is awesome.
I see we're on it. You're watching our stream on the touch board.
Oh, I got my brother-in-law right here. He's gonna go to my first website.
Oh, you're going to pull up the websites on the touch board? Holy cow, this is very fancy.
So this first one is dayuse.com, DAYUSE.com. And so if you're looking, you know, if you land somewhere in the morning or you're just driving into a city and you just want to have a hotel for the day and don't want to spend their crazy,
this is such a good idea. Rates. How many times have you just exhausted? You don't want to spend 8 hours in an airport. You could just do this. A couple hours in a hotel room, take a nap, take a shower.
I put in San Francisco for tomorrow, and they have the Hilton San Francisco Union Square for $99 from either 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
See, it's all gravy for the hotel.
Exactly.
You're not spending the night. Nice.
So, and they're in 20 different countries, 4,000 hotels. Over 4,000 hotels. So, you know, there's so many times when you land in a city and you're just changing planes instead of hanging out, go check it out and have a little, have a day.
How many airports? I noticed, I'm trying to remember where it was. Some airports have hotels in the airport. I love that idea. Is that becoming more common?
Actually, Toronto has one right here. Also, my buddy Chris McGinnis, he was just in Istanbul last week, and his flight got delayed, so he missed his connection to Budapest, and he had to spend the night. But as an American, you cannot leave the airport now in Turkey. So luckily, they have a hotel that is actually on the inside of the airport. So
good.
And so if that ever happens to you, by the way, you got to get a room right away. Don't wait around for the airline to get it for you.
It's so sad when you see people, and you see it all the time in airports. They seem like they don't want to make it too comfortable for somebody to lie down and take a nap in between flights. People are just stretched out, and it looks so unpleasant. So this is a good thing. I like this.
Good. Okay. Yeah. And you can also, and by the way, you can use their spa, their swimming pool, the fitness room nice. when you book a day room.
Very nice.
So that's a very good incentive. All right. So here's my app. You ready?
Yep.
This one's been around for a little bit, but it's called Sidekicks. SIDEKIX. The website is getsidekicks.com.
Okay.
But you're going to love this one because I know you like to explore cities by walking like I do.
Yes.
And it's a free app on iOS and Android. And what they do, this is not the app for you if you want to go the fastest way from point A to point B. This is for you if you want to explore a city by going from point A to point B. And you you put in your interests if you want to go shopping or restaurants or nightlife or see museums, and they pull from, what's hot, that's what's trending, social media. Also, they have bloggers recommending places for it, and they're all around the world. I mean, they're all over the.
Man, I wish I'd had this. We were in New York a couple of weeks ago. Wish I'd had this. They have here's highlights of the New York High Line. We were on the High Line. I would have loved to have had this ahead of time. So these are just walking places you can see walking.
Exactly, and they try and get you off the beaten path. So it's really
love it.
It's a cool app, and I think that next time on your travels, you got to check it out.
Get Sidekicks with an X.com, but it's iOS or Android, I see.
Yes, it is.
And all over the world. Oh, I love this idea because I do like to, when I go to a city especially, I like to walk around. Look, it's behind you. Your brother-in-law's doing an excellent job.
Yeah, there he is.
He knows this is radio, right? Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him. He obviously combed his hair and he got his all dressed up for it.
Yeah, he put his tie on for it. That was actually for the Santa Claus picture.
Oh, yeah. You got to look good. So you got how many people in the Santa Claus picture?
There's 6 of us.
Wow. That sounds like fun. Did you sit on Santa's lap?
He wouldn't let us sit on the lap. I tried.
I bet you did. But Jack got to, I'm sure. Jack this is baby's first Christmas or second?
It's second, but last year he didn't really.
Yeah, he doesn't remember much when you're a few months old. Did he kind of? How did he react to Santa? Because I think with really little kids, Santa can be scary.
Yeah, you know what? He's mellow. He just looked at him.
He dug it, huh? All right.
Yeah.
Did he, out of curiosity, did he know who Santa was, or you just thought, well, this is something weird my parents are doing, but they always do something weird, so I'm just going to go with it?
I think it's
more than that. He doesn't know it's Christmas, huh? Yeah.
No. But Santa was good, and we got all dressed up.
Very
so here
nice.
we are.
Well, you're in the right place for Christmas. Freezing cold Canada. Have a great white Christmas. You can take the next couple of weeks off.
Good.
I'm going the other direction. I'm going down to the Caribbean where it's nice and warm.
Aren't you lucky?
I am lucky.
So you're going to BVI's.
So yeah, we my son and I rented a sailboat, and we're gonna what do they call it? A bare boat charter, something like that. We're gonna sail around the British Virgin Islands.
But you have a captain. You hired a captain.
Yeah, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I would plow right into the dock. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. So, no, I'll be on the crew. I can spin a winch like nobody's business.
Okay, good.
Pick up an anchor, that kind of thing. So, John, have a wonderful holiday. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Lots more travel. And you said you're going and you're going to be back. But you won't.
I have 5 more flights before the end of the year.
What the what?
So.
Are you trying to set a record?
No, but the problem is when you get elite status, you got to be able to keep it. And plus, I got some things to do.
I got places to go, people to see. Find Johnny Jet and the chronicle of his travels, plus all his great travel tips at his website, johnnyjet.com. You also should follow him on Twitter. He's at Johnny Jet. And, Twitter's kind of hidden this feature, but if you go look at Johnny's lists, he has some really useful travel lists, like flight attendants, airlines, hotels. Those lists are going to be a lifesaver for you the next time you travel. And, of course, you got to follow his Instagram. And that's how I know where Johnny is at any moment of the day. I just go see him. At Johnny Jet on Instagram, Twitter, at johnnyjet.com on the web. Thank you, Johnny. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a wonderful time. We're going to take a break. Come back. More of your calls in just a second. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. MET. Well, Johnny, it's great to see you. Thank your brother-in-law for helping out. That was nice.
I will. He's right here.
Yeah, did a great job.
Thank you for thank you for having me on. And
thanks once again to the Mindshare. Thank you, Mindshare.
Thank you so much. Studied at Pepperdine. I did my master's there.
Oh, neat. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, I used to go up your way one week a month to do a call for help on G4 Tech TV, but that ended about 2007, 2008. So it's been a while since I've been up to Toronto, but I got to come up and visit.
Come on up.
I will. Thank you so much for letting Johnny take over. But we gave you a big plug in front of millions of geeks. So
really appreciate that. And I'm in the EdTech space. I work for Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank.
Yes.
So I launched his startup. So we should do an EdTech show sometime.
Bet.
I'd be happy to.
You bet. All about the EdTech. Yeah.
Technology and education. I'm the guru in Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's great. So give your card to Johnny.
I will.
Yeah.
All right. Pleasure.
I'll email you his contact.
All right. Hey, thank you. See you guys. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You're going to find a iMac Pro under your tree for the holidays. Did you see that? Apple finally released this week on Thursday, their iMac Pro starts the least expensive model at $5,000. And it isn't hard to get it up over $10,000. Not hard at all. That's a lot of money. I don't know who that's for. It's for professionals, I guess. If you're, if you're using it for your business, you're doing 3D design or photography or video, primarily video editing, I would think. It is not. If you thought, maybe you got $5,000 sitting around, you had made some money in Bitcoin, and you're thinking, oh, maybe I should just get that. Wouldn't that be the best computer out there, the fastest computer out there? No. This is something I wish the reviewers had said a little bit more clearly. But it's something everybody should understand, that it is not even the fastest Mac. It depends what you do. So they're using a Intel chip, the Xeon chip, that has 8, 10, I think there's a 12-core, and there'll eventually be a 16-core version processors. The base model, I think, is 10 processors in it. But when you get these multi-processor Xeon chips, they run at a slower clock speed per process. They don't run as fast as other Intel chips like the i7. And that may make a difference. So the only people who should buy one of the newer iMac Pros or any Xeon-based, that's the name of the chip, Xeon-based computer, people who know that the software they use day in, day out would take advantage of all those extra chips. Most software doesn't. Many games don't. And in fact, they wouldn't necessarily run very well on that Macintosh because the single core performance is slower. Now, if all of this sounds like mumbo jumbo to you, then you definitely shouldn't buy it. You should definitely not buy it. The only people who should buy it are people who know for a fact the software they use will take advantage of 10 cores, and that is a very small subset. So, good news. You don't need to spend $5,000. Take that Bitcoin and spend it on something else, something more fun. Believe me, you'd enjoy it more. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Line 3, Matthew, Encino, California. Hi, Matthew.
Hey, Leo, how's it going?
It's great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Listen, my Pioneer Elite TV has finally died.
Great TVs. Those were great TVs.
Yeah, yep. It was about a 14-year run.
Yep.
And so now I'm faced with, a very different marketplace.
Oh yeah.
And trying to figure out. I was all set to buy one of these UHD TVs, and then I ran into the LG guy, and he started talking to me about OLED.
The OLEDs are UHD as well.
Right.
They may make HD OLED. So really your choice, if you're mentioning the word OLED, is OLED versus LCD, liquid crystal.
Right. Yes.
You have a plasma, which for years was the best technology out there, but all the companies have stopped making plasmas, unfortunately. So I'm holding on to my last. I had the Pioneer Kuro, which was a successor to the Elite, wonderful TV. I kept that because, they're never going to make that again. And I have a Panasonic Viera plasma. They're never going to make that again. But truthfully, my best TV is an LG OLED, OLED. It's a different technology than LCD. It's organic light-emitting diodes. It's direct view, flat screen, very flat screen. They're very thin. They have some issues, but in general, OLEDs are capable of blacker blacks and whiter whites, the better dynamic range. And that's the thing, more than 4K. That's what UHD means, Ultra HD. More than the higher resolution, the thing you really get from these new TVs, and the thing Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guy, is always talking about, is high dynamic range. That makes more of a difference in how a picture looks than anything. The best, of course, is a 4K high dynamic range TV that you're sitting just a few feet away from. That's going to really make a difference. I love it. And I do have an LG, personally, an LG. I have the B6. They're up to B7 now. And I think the B is the same panel as the higher priced models. It just doesn't have the bells and whistles. It doesn't have 3D. It doesn't have... I frankly didn't want the bells and whistles. I just wanted the best screen out there. If you're a Pioneer Elite buyer, you bought the best screen at the time. I think you're probably a good candidate for an OLED, and I think that LG B7 is fantastic.
Okay, I was going that way, but I wanted to get your opinion. It's obviously a little bit more money than the LCDs,
but better. LCDs are best in bright conditions. So if you're in a daylit room that you can't darken, they're going to look better because they're brighter. Potentially, OLEDs have a shorter lifespan. We're not sure yet, but the blue or purple dye apparently wears faster than the other colors. That might give it a strange cast over the years. It probably isn't going to last as long as your Elite did. 14 years is a long time.
Yeah.
But I think they've pretty much licked the problems with OLED, and I do think that's the best TV technology you can buy right now.
Okay,
without a doubt. Very much. Yeah, you'll thank me later when the first time you sit down with and by the way, get a UHD Blu-ray player because that's what's going to really take advantage of it. I was telling Scott I had watched Netflix is starting to stream UHD. That's the 4K, right? That's the high resolution, ultra high def, HDR, and that's what you're sitting in your TV. And when you launch Netflix and it goes, and the little HDR indicator turns on, you go, oh, yeah, good. And I was watching The Crown, which is Netflix's original series about Elizabeth, the Queen Elizabeth II, current Queen of England. And it's a wonderful historic drama. It's a little stately, right? It's a little slow, but gorgeous looking. And we had been watching it on our HD Panasonic Viera plasma. And I said to my wife, honey, we got to go in the den, my man cave. We got to go in the den and watch it there because I think it'll look better on 4K HDR. She said, oh. Now, one of the things that I made sure in my man cave is I'm not sitting more than 8 feet away from that 70-inch TV. You may not notice a big difference if you're distant from the TV. If you're 10, 15 feet away, how many dots it has doesn't make that much difference because all of that resolution is wasted when you're that far away. But if you're sitting close and in a darkened room, of course it's darkened, got the curtains drawn, the lights off, the doors closed, it literally took my breath away. I think it will take yours away. Look at something really good. The best quality is going to be on a UHD Blu-ray player. Fortunately, they're down below $200 now. You can get them pretty decent price. But the Crown's streaming. I have a lot of bandwidth, so I'm getting the full quality. It looked good. It noticeably better than on a HD plasma. Noticeably better. Big difference. And so get that LG, get the B7 or whatever model you can afford, as big as you can afford. Get as big. By the way, that's another tip. Get it as big as. Don't stint on size. If you say, "Oh no, my current TV's 32 inches, I'll get a 32." No, don't get as 65, 70. Get a big screen. Even a 70, if you're only 8 feet away, that's movie theater experience, right? Get a nice surround system, and you will thank me later. You will have the experience I had, which is, wow, I can tell the difference. You'll see it particularly in dark shots where there's, or shots that are brightly lit, but there's a dark part of it where there's really a broad dynamic range. That's when the OLED TV really can do its stuff and show the difference. I put my hey, that's what I bought. Put my money where my mouth is. Bought it last year, so I got the older ones. Now, unfortunately, Starman says, but my house is only 75 inches wide. Yeah, well, go wall. It's okay. It's what we call wall-to-wall TV. That's actually probably even better. Just move your couch a little closer, and you sit right up. Right up to it. I don't think you get the benefit of 4K with a smaller screen or if you're sitting farther away, but HDR does make a difference no matter what.
75 diagonal.
Yeah, I know it's diagonal. It'll fit. He says it'll fit. It's diagonal. John says, now remember, it's measured diagonally. You shouldn't have any trouble in that 75-inch White House. It'll fit just fine. Okay, phone number 8888 Ask Leo. We got another hour to come. Let's talk high tech, computers, the internet. Yes, home theater, but I also augmented reality. What are you getting for the holidays? Are you buying a geek a gift? I can help you do that. We can talk about the new iPhone 10. We can talk about my current favorite camera phone. It's the best one out there, the Pixel 2 XL. Man, they just upgraded it to the newest version of Android, and it turned on a chip that was hidden in the Pixel 2. It looks good. We're talking about anything on your mind. 8888 Ask Leo. Put that up on the OLED screen there. It's funny. I was just looking. I was talking about at the beginning of the hour at the Facebook page, talking about their study and stuff, and I realized, wait a minute, that's a WordPress site, WordPress.com site. Even Facebook uses. That cracks me up. WordPress.com makes me happy too because that's what I use. WordPress.com. In fact, 29% of all the websites in the world use WordPress.com. I love WordPress. And if you're in business, you should love WordPress too. You need a website, right? You got to have a website. And when you looked at that, you thought, gosh, I don't want to become a web guru. I just want a site. So you put up a page on Facebook or on Twitter account or something and said, that ought to do. No, you need your own site. But fortunately, WordPress makes it as easy as can be. I use WordPress.com every day. And whether you're looking to create a personal blog or a business site, when you make your website on WordPress.com, it's easy for you, it's great looking, and you're part of a large community that drives traffic to you. And because WordPress.com automatically includes the social sharing plugins, your readers, your viewers, your customers, they're going to help you promote your business because they're going to share your site on their sites, on their Facebook, on their Twitter. WordPress does all the technical stuff, and this was the thing for me that was really important. They keep it up to date automatically. Plugins too. You have all the plugins you might want. I have AMP turned on. I get HTTPS, secure HTTP automatically with WordPress.com. I have the social sharing turned on. I have links to my Instagram and my Twitter. It was easy. And if you ever have any questions, they have the best tech support team in the business. WordPress experts who are there ready to help you. They're 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday. They're there on weekends. Plans start at as low as $4 a month. There's a reason why 29% of all the websites in the world run on WordPress, and you should find out why by going to WordPress.com/TechGuy today and starting your new site. If you go to WordPress.com/TechGuy, you'll get 15% off any new plan purchase. WordPress.com/TechGuy for 15% off. That shiny new website awaits. It's kind of fun for the new year. Make something new and special for you, for your fans, for your friends, for your family, for your customers. WordPress.com/TechGuy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here. Oh, it's time to talk tech, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You give me a ring and we'll talk high tech. You can also visit our website, techguylabs.com. All the answers to all the questions are there. Think of it, it's like the cheat sheet. It's like you don't have to, you just go there and you get all the answers. We write them down for you as the show goes by. techguylabs.com. By the way, that's free. There's no sign up, no fee. David's next in, it seems like the same question, but it's not. In Anaheim. Hi, David. We were talking about that LG TV.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, I'm ready to take the plunge on the 65-inch, but the choices are so overwhelming.
Well, it is, isn't it?
I narrowed it down to the LG but the OLED 65B7. But when I went online to research it, a lot of people with the 2017 models were complaining about banding.
Yeah, now I have the 2016 model. I think the banding is not a function of the television. What are they watching that they're seeing the banding?
Sports.
Yeah.
You could go on YouTube and see just.
So if you're seeing banding is something we call macro blocking. It comes from compression. And you'll see this a lot on streaming video. If you see a solid color, a blue sky or a black room, you'll see if there are gradations in color, you'll see bands. But that is not, unless the TV is doing some sort of compression, that's generally the source material. If you're watching ESPN, that's compressed. Anything on cable is compressed. Any streaming video is compressed. The best way to test a TV, especially one of these new 4K HDR TVs, is to hook it up to a Blu-ray, UHD Blu-ray player and play some good quality content on it and see what it looks like. I've been watching on mine, I just watched Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, which is an interesting movie to watch on a 4K TV because it was shot at 120 frames per second, a high frame rate on digital camera equipment. And the director, Ang Lee, decided to make it, he didn't have the actors wear makeup. He wanted to make it feel vivid and real. And I got to tell you, sitting there, it's almost too real. You feel like you're looking at it's a little like cringy. You're looking at the actors, looking back at you. It's like, are you here in the room with me? This is weird. It's a little too vivid.
If I was going to go down one level in TV, would you recommend a Samsung or continue with an LG? I guess it would be QLED and UHD.
Yeah, so Samsung doesn't make OLEDs. They make, I don't think, maybe they do now. The QLED is LCD TV. Don't be fooled by that. I think Samsung's doing people a disservice with the Q because it looks so much like O. And I think there are some people are going to wander in and say, oh, it's an OLED. It's not. It's an LED backlit LCD screen. Okay. So be very clear on that. I think they do a good job with it. The Q is what they call quantum dots. And they believe, and Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guys, confirmed that that does look better. That's a better kind of LCD TV. But I think everybody agrees, and if you look at the shootouts and the reviews, that OLED is the best screen display technology. Sony makes an OLED that everybody says is very, very good as well. If you don't want to spend as much money, I think that QLED from is fine. I think that's a very nice TV.
It's actually just as much money.
Oh, well, then don't. Then don't.
But if I went with an LG Super UHD, would that be...
Yeah.
But
they make LCDs as well as OLEDs. Again, it's easy to get fooled. If it's not an OLED, it's going to be an LCD. I think all the big brand names now make very good LCDs.
Yeah, they all look good in the store, but it's hard to tell because they're all on that.
You can't tell. They're on super bright, yeah. And I wish the store would give you a chance to hook up a Blu-ray UHD player so you could see it without the, in cinema mode hooked up to that, but they won't let you do that. I think Scott and I both agree. I bought that LG B6, which was last year's model, because Scott recommended it. They're pretty good, aggressively pricing those models right now. And I think the B model, which is a less expensive, is the same panel, as I mentioned before, with fewer bells and whistles. You don't need the bells and whistles. You want the screen to look good. If there is banding, it will come from upscaling HD content to 4K or SD content to 4K. That may have some banding. The chat room saying that the LG LCDs are not as good in black level compared to Sony and Samsung. I think it's not surprising that they're charging more. Samsung's charging more for these QLEDs. They're going to have very good black level. You might look for how the backlighting works. There are different ways of backlighting. There's edge lighting. There's which is probably the among most current TVs the best way to go is edge lighting. Used to be you could get them with full lighting all the way across the back. I don't know if anybody's making that anymore because it's a lot more expensive. So you know, it's if you can spend the money, I'll stand behind my pick, the LG OLED. In the most recent TV display shootout, they won once again. I think it's the best TV out there.
Okay.
And if you don't want to spend that money, then yeah, probably look at the LG. Well, I would say Samsung LCDs or Sony LCDs. Not so much.
With those, am I still going to have a problem with the corners of the TV not lighting up, being a little bit dark?
No, I don't think so. But do look at it closely. I don't think so. No. There's also LCD sometimes gives you edge bleed, which is the other side of that, where it's brighter on the edges. OLED, because it's not the same technology. There's not a backlight. The pixels are emissive, so it eliminates that problem. It's evenly lit all the way across, no matter what. That's kind of always been a problem with LCDs, is uneven backlighting.
Okay, thank you for the info.
My pleasure. Yeah, and then read the reviews. You know, there's some. The good news is you go to Scott's site, AVS Forum, and other sites, and there's really good information out there now. Particularly pay attention to the shootouts. Boy, I gotta reiterate. I know it sounds like a broken record, but I cannot believe how good these HDR UHD OLEDs look. They are spectacular. Hard to imagine them looking any better. Scott, Hesperia, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Scott.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. I wasn't sure it was me.
It is you. It is I. It is you. It is all of us together.
So I have kind of two questions. I am a very proud, happy owner of a Windows phone. But I'm tired of Mary Jo and Paul making fun of me.
No one's making fun of you. But well, actually, they are. But the real problem is Microsoft stopped. Has ended.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just done.
Yeah, well, and it's time for a new phone. So I'm not interested in Apple. I do want an Android, but I am one of those paranoids who doesn't trust Google. So kind of two questions. I want a phone with a big screen that will take an SD card and preferably a Type-C connector.
You're a Samsung Note 8 user for sure. There's just no question in my mind. You're going to love the Samsung Note. It's a big screen. It's as big as they get. It takes a SD card. You may or may not need the pen. If you don't, you might want to look at the Galaxy S8 Plus, also a similarly big screen without the pen and a little bit less expensive. If you're using Android, there's a certain amount of Google wrapped in. Although, as you probably heard because you listened to our Windows podcast, you can make a Samsung phone pretty much a Microsoft phone by using the Microsoft Launcher and Microsoft apps. I think, it's the next best thing to your beautiful but late lamented Windows phone. So an S8 Plus or a Note 8 if you want the stylus, very good choices. And Samsung has its own security model. They have the Knox protection, which I think is very good. They have a encrypted folder. So are you considering Samsung? Or?
Yeah, I looked at it this morning. I like the 8.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. It's the best display on the market.
It's tall, which...
I know. That bugs me, too. I know what you mean. It bugs me too. It looks strange because it is so tall. That's how they're getting these giant screens. Is they're growing them in one dimension over the other one.
Yeah, I wish they had made it wider instead of taller. I do like the big screen, but anyway, I was looking at that in the LG V30.
That is a superb phone as well.
Oh,
now, the only knock on the V30, it's the same knock as on the Pixel 2 XL, and it does not bother me. It's the same screen. LG made the OLED screen, and there are picky eyes who think that the LG OLED screens on the V30 and the Pixel 2 XL are subpar compared to Samsung's, and maybe they aren't they're not 100 out of 100, but they're 96 or 97 out of 100. I don't think there's a huge difference. Yeah. So, and that is a great phone, great camera. If you don't want to go with Samsung, that would be my next choice, the VE30. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good. Well, I'm on the right track.
You're absolutely, yeah. And I completely agree with you. One of the reasons I use the Pixel 2 XL is it's so weird looking. That tall Note 8 is so weird.
Yeah.
And for me, the deal breaker on the Note 8 is, and this is not a problem with the LG, is that the fingerprint reader is next to the camera, and it's hard. It's just a bad place. Google and LG do the same thing. They put that fingerprint reader right in the middle there, where it's naturally fit.
I'm not used to a fingerprint reader.
You're going to love it.
Windows Hello, and I'm always using my code, so I don't mind just entering a code. That's no big deal.
It's certainly the most secure, but the fingerprint reader is such a convenience. Try it anyway. Set it up and see.
Sure.
I love it. In fact, I miss it on the iPhone 10.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. Do they have headphone jacks? I want my headphone jack.
The Samsung does, and the LG, I think, does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you reminded me.
Yes.
I need my
do not buy a phone without a headphone jack. I kind of agree with you. Unfortunately, both my current phones do not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed, but let me check the LG. I'm worried the LG might not. No, I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll remember to check that now that I've kind of narrowed it down.
Yeah.
Or you've helped me narrow it down. And the screen, it won't bother me. My eyes aren't really that good. It's not a big deal. I'm sure either one or the LG will be good enough. What I really want to ask is, and I know I'm paranoid. I know I am, but I am. So I have to do what I can. The fact that Google makes Android, how much of, if I use a Samsung phone or an LG, not a Google phone, how much of what I do on an Android phone is Google centric? I do, for my work, I have a very cheap, low-end Android phone that I don't do anything with except make calls and text occasionally.
Google services, all Android phones in the United States have Google services on them. So there is always the potential, if you have decided that Google is malign and is spying on you, then you should not use an Android phone.
Well, and I don't believe that. I mean, I trust Google today, but if they're collecting information in 10 years, they're not going to.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
All that information.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I have to take a. Well, actually, we're coming back. We're gonna hang on. This is a question that Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888, ask Leo. I still have Scott Hesperia on the line. He's looking for a replacement for his late lamented Windows phone. And you're not alone, Scott. A lot of people love those Windows phones. I thought they were very good. I was actually disappointed. I thought we were going to have a third credible challenger to Android and iOS, but it was not to be. BlackBerry didn't survive either, really. Although both companies, you could still buy those phones. I think HP's still selling its X2 Windows phone, but Microsoft's given up on it, so that's pretty much the end of the line.
Right.
So you asked a question, and I kept you on because I think this is a question a lot of people are wondering. If I'm using an Android device that's not made by Google, how much does Google know about me?
Right.
And you made the exact right point. You said it's not that I don't trust Google today, but 10 years from now, they'll still have all that data, and who knows who's running the joint. and what they might do with that data. And I think that that's really an appropriate way to think about this in general. You could say the same thing about Apple, Samsung, Facebook, Twitter,
Microsoft,
anybody. Whenever you're using technology, there's a certain degree of trust. And even Microsoft with Windows 10 now, it collects a certain amount of data about how you're using your computer. You know, the person you might want to trust the least is your internet service provider, who sees everywhere you go on the internet.
Right. The problem with that is you don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
You can't just decide not to trust them.
And while Apple says, "Oh, we won't collect any information," they probably do collect less information than Google. Can't prove that, by the way. And again, you have the same problem. Well, maybe you trust Apple's leadership today. I certainly do. But will you trust their leadership in 10 years? We don't even know who it'll be. Maybe the government will subsume these companies, and it'll be the government with all that data. Then how do you feel? You know, we don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. So the point really is well taken, that we leak data all the time. And we leak it to a variety of entities. And I would say it's almost impossible to use the internet or a smartphone without doing that.
Yeah.
You could say, well, I think Google's more likely to be taken over than Apple, but I don't know if that's true. And so whoever's phone you're using is going to have a treasure trove of data about location, websites you visit, applications you install, the amount of time you spend. There's a company that collects data based on the apps you use. So let's say remember, it's not just Google. Every app you download, there's a company that owns that app. And that company can put in code that watches your every move. For instance, we know there's a company, I think it's called Stratus, that collects location information using apps. They pay app creators to put a couple of lines of code in. And then they sell information. We found this out because there was an article in most newspapers that on Thanksgiving, people tended not to spend time with family members if they were of a different political party. Now, when you just read that, you go, yeah, that makes sense. But what people who pay attention to this stuff thought is, well, how the heck do they know that? And they found out that this company knows that because they have your location information. Facebook has your political party. It is very good, even if you haven't given them that information, at figuring it out from the stuff you read. It's a combination of data from a variety of different sources that you didn't necessarily pay much attention to. You gave permission, I guess. But that's happening all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, what you would have to do is create a phony account, create phony information in that account, somehow not tie it to your identity. If you use a credit card or pay with a check, you're out of luck. You'd have to pay with Bitcoin or cash or create a credit card. You'd have to go to great lengths, let's put it that way, in order to obfuscate who that data is coming from. So we're leaking it. We're leaking it. Yeah. And I don't really know what the answer is. I'm increasingly worried about this. I don't think it's necessarily paranoid of you. For instance, Facebook, we know very well, sells ads against information it knows about you. And until recently, you could go on Facebook and buy an ad for somebody who believed the Holocaust was a lie. You could literally find a Nazi on Facebook and buy an ad directed at a Nazi. You could, maybe even worse, Facebook does sentiment analysis, right? We know this because Facebook has some interest in preventing suicides and so forth, and they can kind of tell from people if they're depressed as they post and use stuff. It's fairly not a big stretch to go from there to know that they could probably tell if somebody who has mental illness issues. And by the way, I have family members. I probably have some myself. I have no stigma on my part about that. But Facebook might use that against you. For instance, we know that people who are bipolar, in a manic phase of their bipolar, are likely to spend money without limit or gamble without limit. Wow. For all we know, Facebook is doing this right now, is selling advertisements to people in their manic phase for gambling companies. I think that's very likely. Now, Facebook is very unclear about how they're doing this and whether they're doing this, and they've kind of stonewalled as best they could. But I think this is a legitimate concern, and I'm just using that as an example. Google also sells ads. Google doesn't know maybe as much about you as Facebook does, but they know quite a bit. So I think it's reasonable to be worried about this at this point.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I use all these phones, and I'm on the internet. I do all this stuff, and I have a Comcast is my internet service provider, so they know everything about me, and I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. So it's kind of part of doing business in the internet. You just have to decide how do you feel about that? I wouldn't really. I guess my bottom line is, unless you're willing to go to great lengths, it's pretty much impossible to stop.
Yeah.
So if you want to use the internet and you want to use a smartphone, that's the price you're paying. Be aware of it. But there's not much you can do.
Well, from a phone usage standpoint, I'm pretty much in the Microsoft world. I back everything up on OneDrive. When I restore my Windows phone, I do it through OneDrive. That's really not an option in the Android world, is it? I've got
yes, totally. You can no. You can no.
I know I can use OneDrive, but as far as backing up, restoring a phone, I can't restore it from OneDrive.
What you can do is not back it up to Google. There's a checkbox to say do not back up to Google. Turn that off, and you're going to have to do some more manual stuff like restoring. For instance, you're going to have the Google Play Store on there, otherwise you won't be able to get apps. The Google Play Store knows what apps you've downloaded, and there's no way to prevent that. That's a useful feature, though. When comes time to install a new phone, you can go to the App Store and say, what have I bought that's not installed in this phone? That's what I do. Go down and check the boxes. I mean, this is part of that whole thing. Yes, you're going to buy apps. Google's going to know what apps you own.
Right.
It's just a given. Amazon knows what you buy on Amazon. Target knows what you buy on Target. The thing that most scares me is that companies are combining these multiple sources of information to build up very detailed profiles of you. I think in the long run, the only solution is going to be to go to Congress. I don't have high hopes here, and get them to pass some privacy rules. They've done it in Europe, the GDPR. We need to do it here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You're asking the right questions. The problem is the answers are terrible.
Yeah. Well, I knew that, but
what are you going to do? I mean, I sometimes I despair of it. The problem is not, though, you and me. We're aware, and we know, what we're trading off. But the vast majority of Americans have no idea.
Sure, right. And it's going to. Well, here's my paranoia coming out again. Someday, everybody is going to be very shocked.
I think it's going to be more gradual than that. I think you're just going to see ads that are kind of curiously targeted. You're going to see, I think there's no question that however you feel about the result of the last presidential election, pro or con, there's no question at all that a foreign government did what they could to use Facebook and other techniques, but chiefly Facebook, to act in favor of one candidate. And that should be disturbing to people.
Sure. That
undermines our independence, our democracy. So, and these things are going to continue to happen because Facebook doesn't want this to stop. That's not their business model. Is totally on this continuing. So, I think they genuinely care, but they don't believe it's a problem. That's really the issue. Mark Zuckerberg says time and time again, in fact, that study I read at the beginning of the show, your life is better when you're sharing, you're connected. That's good for you. I know.
I'm fortunate. I am not on Facebook, not from a paranoia. I just don't have any time for it, use for it. So I'm fortunate that way, but I understand. My parents are on it. My kids are on it.
Everybody you know is on it. You're the exception that proves the rule.
Well, and that comes back to Android again. I'm trying to stay away from Google, but my wife and one of my sons have smartphones. Well, so, I mean, if there's anything to be afraid of, well, they're out there leaking all the information.
And the problem is they're also leaking information about you, right?
Exactly.
So it's not, yeah. You know, if you get a Samsung phone, most of the Google services are duplicated by Samsung, including backup and restore. So you're now trusting Samsung, a Korean company, but you know, divide it up as best you can. I don't think that's too bad of a solution.
No, I agree with that. You know, I don't worry so much about Microsoft again today because they've been beaten down.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think they're a little gun shy to do too much.
Well, and their business is not advertising. The companies that you really most want to worry about are the advertising related businesses because they have the strong incentive to collect as much information as they can.
Yeah.
You know.
I actually don't care much for Samsung from what I've heard. I've heard you talk about all the junk they put on their phones, and just that turns me off. But the idea that they don't have the market share that
you can disable all that Samsung junk. You can make it as pure as a Google phone as, you know, practically as a Google phone.
Well, but you made a good point. If I switch to the Samsung world, well, then I don't have to worry about Google if I can replace all of the Google.
Except for the Play Store. You're still going to be buying stuff through Google, yeah.
But now I'm dividing.
Divide and conquer, yeah.
Right.
Dividing is probably a good thing, at least for now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. GDPR in Europe is going to change things because companies that want to do business in Europe, and that's all of these companies, are going to have to really start paying attention because there's some serious privacy regulations now.
Yeah. And if they're going to do it, submit to privacy regulations there, it's got to be easier to do it everywhere.
Right. Hey, got to run.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Nice to talk to you.
You too.
Take care. 8888 Ask Leo. Dick DiBartolo, Mad's maddest writer, coming up in about 15 minutes with a gadget of the day. But first, George is on the line from Palmdale, California. Hi, George.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm enjoying your broadcasts, becoming quite a fan.
Oh, well, thank you. That's nice of you. Thank you.
And been dealing with computers for nigh on to 50 years.
Me too.
And I am frustrated beyond words on occasion.
Yeah, me too. Who isn't? If you use computers and you're not frustrated, you're not paying attention.
Oh, well, my secret sin is, and I should have used a different name in case anybody recognizes me, but I used to do software for a living.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Nice. That's changed a lot, though, hasn't it? Tell me about your software days.
Have you ever heard of anything called Fortran H?
Well, I've heard of Fortran. What's H?
Well, H was the latest and greatest, absolutely slickest Fortran ever written in 1970.
Oh, I used Fortran 77, so that was better than H, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's part of my history is I used Fortran H in school, and then when I came to work for my last employer in 1981, I, beamed proudly about how great I was. And then they got this Fortran 77 stuff. I took a look at that, and I decided I'd just remain a user.
Yeah. You know what? That was a god-awful language. I admire you that you were able to write anything in it at all.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, the saving grace was something that my alma mater had called Algol.
Oh, Algol was great. Yeah.
That was...
that was for the math fanatics. Yeah.
Well, the institution which I attended used a lot of math.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, I'm curious about Microsoft, what have I got here? Word.
Yeah.
And I will be running things, and every once in a while, I will get a message that says, Microsoft Word not responding.
Oh, boy.
I can, I will be typing or something like that, and it will freeze.
Freezes up. Does it come back, or does it stay that way?
Depends upon how patient I am. It comes back.
It does eventually, huh?
And I will get in. It'll remember like a couple of keystrokes, and then all of a sudden, it'll put up the letters I typed,
So as you know, the keyboard has a buffer. So as you type stuff, it stores it in memory. But the problem is Word isn't asking. And that when Word gets done with whatever the heck it was doing, it then says, "Hey, you got any keystrokes for me?" And the buffer gets dumped into it. So it's a limited number of keystrokes. How old is your computer?
Let me see now. It's a Dell something. It's maybe 2 years old.
Oh, that's not old. And you're using Windows 10?
Windows 10, 2017.
Well, you're all up to date there. That's not it. This is always a problem though with modern operating systems. They're always doing something. Lots of other things going on in the background, and that sounds to me like another process is taken over. Now, do you want to get back into your roots and start doing a little digging?
Well, okay, I've done a little bit of that. I've gone through like Control-Alt-Delete.
The task manager. That's a good start for sure.
And I dial up, okay, what's going on in here?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it'll show my CPU is not busy.
Oh, interesting.
And perhaps to a separate issue, every once in a while, Outlook just seems to be munching up CPU like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, Outlook does some background indexing. In fact, Windows does background indexing, and sometimes that's the culprit. I am going, though, to go in a different direction. This is the most common flaw in modern computers, is the hard drive. Doing disk I/O can sometimes take up a lot of CPU cycles, or at least anyway, take up the attention. It's now asynchronous, so you might not see it in the CPU, but you know what asynchronous is, so I don't have to explain that to you. But you might see a slowdown even though the CPU is not pegged because it's waiting for disk I/O. And the reason sometimes you get these slowdowns that it recovers from is a sector on the disk that's hard to read. So the operating system will try to read the disk a certain number of times. It'll either give up and continue on, or it'll get the data it wants. And I would guess that the amount of time it's waiting is about the amount of time it takes for the computer to say, "I'm not going to get this data. I'm going to continue on." So it may be in the process. Word, of course, writes out scratch files, writes out backup files. It's doing a lot of disk access even when you're just sitting there typing. My guess is that parts of your hard drive are hard or impossible to read. Is it a spinning drive or a solid-state drive?
I don't hear any noise, so I would assume.
Well, you might not hear noise. Sometimes they're pretty quiet. You could tell spinning drives are particularly prone to this, bad sectors, bad data. I think it's probably a disk issue, and you can see, look in the I/O section of the task manager to see what's going on with I/O, and that might be a place to look. If it's not pegging the CPU, then it's not some sort of background indexing, because that is CPU bound. I suspect it's I/O bound, and I think you probably see that. You might also look and see if there's any plugins, or if your browser, a lot of times your browser is involved when you open Office, Internet Explorer, or Edge in the modern version, gets pulled up as a rendering engine. That could be tying things up too. There's a more sophisticated tool. I was talking earlier in the show about Mark Grasinovich and his sysinternals. He has a program that is kind of task manager on steroids. It's called Process Explorer or Proc Explorer. You could, I would get Process Explorer and take a look at what else is going on. It covers all the processes, including disk I/O. If it is a disk issue, and this isn't unusual, I mean, even though it's only a couple of years old, moving parts are the first things, as you know, to fail, and a hard drive could be having some issues, even as in a few months. It's unpredictable. When they make hard drives, they test them to determine what's called the mean time before failure. You remember this, MTBF. But the way they test them is they get 1,000 drives in a room and they run them till one fails, and then they do little statistics and averaging, and they say, well, the mean time, the average time, is 40,000 hours. But really, any given hard drive can fail in 1 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000. It's just unpredictable. So it could be bad sectors in your hard drive. That's usually when I see slowdowns like this. That's almost always what I suspect. It's really no way to test it except to look at Process Explorer, see what your I/O is doing. And, hard drives are cheap. Maybe it's time to get a new hard drive and see if that fixes the problem. There are tools you can run, like my friend Steve Gibson's. He's the same vintage as us. SpinRite. But that problem with SpinRite, which I love, $80 or $90, it costs as much as a new hard drive. So it really only makes sense for somebody who does this a lot. I think a new hard drive's in order. That would be my guess. 8888 Ask Leo. If you think you got a better idea, you can also go to the website, techguylabs.com, and leave a comment there. It's free. No sign up. We welcome everybody at techguylabs.com. Dick DeBartolo coming up in just a moment. Stay right here. You really don't need a quad-core processor and dual striped RAID drives to run Microsoft Word. You shouldn't anyway. Hey, before we get to Dick DeBartolo, Mad's Maddest Writer, let's talk about our sponsor for the show today, Rocket Mortgage, from the best lender in the country. And I will say that without hesitation, Quicken Loans. You know they're the best when you see all those J.D. Power Customer Satisfaction Awards stacking up. Number one, now 8 years running, number one in customer satisfaction according to the J.D. Power Association. That's pretty good. Actually, number one in two categories, mortgage origination and mortgage servicing. Okay, that makes them twice as good. They're doubly the best in the country. And now I got a third reason to recommend them. Rocket Mortgage. Quicken Loans realized that the whole mortgage process was something out of the 19th century, really hadn't kept up with the times. They felt like it needs a technological revolution, and these are the guys. I mean, they know technology. So they created an entirely online mortgage approval process. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on a tablet. You can do it on a computer. You can do it anywhere you got a browser. It takes minutes. And the beauty part is you don't have to go up to the attic or to the basement or to the file cabinet to get your bank statements and pay stubs and all that paperwork the other guys want. All you have to do is answer a few simple questions. Once they get it, they say, because they have relationships with all the banks and everything, they go, oh, yeah. This is you, Leo, right? Okay. Can we have permission to look at your bank? Yeah. Now they know everything they need to know. And because it's all online, they're doing this in real time. It takes minutes. They crunch the numbers based on your income, your assets, and your credit. You tell them what your down payment is, what your target interest rate is, how long you want the loan to be. They like those 15-year loans. You can go for 30. 15's great, though. You pay it off faster and pay less money. Anyway, that's a different ad for a different time. That's my personal opinion. But you can tell them that. And then within, a minute or two, literally while you're standing there, they're going to say, oh, yeah, here's a loan. You're approved. Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage. Apply simply. Understand fully. Mortgage confidently. It's just the best way to do it. In fact, what I would do if you think you're going to be buying a house or refining, by the way, interest rates, we already know, they just went up. They're going to go up more. Now's the time to refi. Lock in those low interest rates. They're not going to get lower over the next year. Go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy. rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage. Bookmark it anyway. Maybe you never know. You might go to an open house tomorrow and say, hey, we should buy this. Rocket, I do that almost every time I go to an open house. It's a bad habit. rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Lisa and I are now looking for retirement. We want to get a retirement house in Hawaii. And she signed up on Zillow. And she gets every day 3 or 4 of these houses, and she shows me, and I go, oh, we should buy that. We should buy that. That one. I want that one. Dick DeBartolo, Mad's Maddest Writer, and the Gizwiz. Hey, Dickie D. I love your red plaid shirt. I just feel like this is so festive.
It is.
Yeah.
And I got my dancing Santa and my fiber optic tree. And yeah.
That's the tree that appeared in that major motion picture.
Yeah, exactly. and Selfie Santa. What could be better than
Selfie Santa? Is that who that is?
You know what?
I don't know if that's a good idea. Oh, Lord.
Let me take a selfie.
Oh, jeez, Louise. Oh, man.
Isn't that funny?
Oh.
He's got his own camera.
So you just took a picture of me, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be on Instagram in about 45 seconds.
So Dick drops by every week to give us a gadget or a gizmo. We call him the Giz Wiz because he's the wizard of gizmos. What do you have this week?
Oh, there's something neat for the holidays. It's from Works, WORX. It is Zip Snip. Okay.
Oh, when I had my vasectomy, that's what I went to. I went to Zip Smith and Company. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now you can do it at home.
No.
So this is a way.
That looks like it too. It's like a portable bris machine. What is that?
It is a way to open any package.
Oh, I need that.
Including the toughest clamshell. And the wild thing is, if you buy this, you have to open one more clamshell package.
It comes in a clamshell package. This we need because those stupid packaging is the worst. Oh, it's dangerous. Yeah. I've cut myself on this stuff.
You know what? I have too. Because you rip it sometimes and it leaves a sharp edge, and you try and pull the thing out without opening the clamshell all the way, and you cut yourself.
The stuff's sharp, and the stuff's in there not for you or it's just to prevent shoplifting, I think. So you got a demo of it on your website at gizwiz.biz, and so what's in that? What is it doing? It looks like it's got a buzzsaw in it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little self-sharpening blade that spins around at 260.
It does.
Yeah.
It is
it's
a handsaw. Holy cow.
You charge it once, and it runs for, they said, about a month.
Oh, I need this.
50 or 60 packages, and it zips through stuff.
Too bad you don't have very many packages you could test that on in your...
Oh, you know what? I tell people say, what do you want for Christmas? I say, I don't need anything, but if you buy me anything, it must come in a clamshell package. So I can open it.
That thing looks dangerous. Don't put this in the hands of kids.
Well, I think that's why they put it in a clamshell. They didn't want people in the store playing around.
Now, but it has protection, so you can't cut yourself with it.
No,
right?
exactly. And Leo, the price is all over the place. When I got this 2 weeks ago, it was $25.
That's a good price.
Yes, the cheapest.
It's $44 on Amazon.
On Amazon. So Home Depot's doing better. Home Depot, I saw it today for, I think it was $34.50.
Oh, that's not bad.
So I think it's because everybody is buying them for the holidays.
Yes, because you're going to have a ton of them under the tree. All these
exactly.
Geez, I hate those clamshell packages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can also try the company website where I think it is also about $35.
WORX.com. But the best place to go because, Dick's got all the information you need about it on his website, gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz. You can go there. You can play the What the Heck Is It contest just 2 more weeks, and it'll be...
No, Leo, it ends tomorrow night.
What? No. Oh, I better get over there.
Only because Mad is closing Friday
at noon. The mailroom closes Friday at noon.
The mailroom is closing at noon.
So Dick needs to wrap this thing up.
Yes, I was going to end it on the 15th, and I figured I'll make it the 17th. So when I do the Gizwiz, do your show.
Thank you.
The tech guy, we could at least get one more round of people playing.
Gizwiz.biz. Click the What the Heck Is It button, and you have a chance to identify a close-up of a gadget. You don't have to be right. There's 12 autographed Mad magazines for the right answer. There's 24 for the best wrong answer. So, be creative. Gizwiz.biz. While you're there, don't forget, there's lots more on there, all the gadgets and gizmos Dick talks about on World News Now and ABC and on this show and others. And don't forget gizwiz.tv for his podcast. You use Patreon, right?
We do, yes.
Is Patreon, I guess they went back on their plan.
Yes. They
were going to charge
yes, it was ridiculous.
Patrons
if you only wanted to give $1, it would cost you like $3.
That's crazy.
So they said, we made a mistake. They
backed down. Good.
Back down.
Good.
Exactly.
Because I know that's pretty much that's a big part of your support for your show, for the Gizwiz
exactly
podcast.
That and the Gizwiz Jams and Jellies is pretty much it.
You got a lot of berry bushes there in the backyard in the Upper West Side.
Yeah.
KizWiz.biz. Dickie D, have a wonderful holiday and a happy new year.
Great. Now, so in January when we talk, will you be in Hawaii or you?
No, I'm not retired yet. I'm coming.
Oh, okay,
I'm going to come. Petaluma's the next best thing. I'll stay here for maybe 5-10 more years, something like that.
Oh, good, good.
All right, not imminent. Thank you, Dickie D.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. A wonderful Merry Christmas, Dickie D. Last call of the day. Let's see if we can get one more in here. Rich in Scranton, PA. Hi, Rich.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh, I wish I could be better. I have a problem. I have Parkinson's disease, and when I'm typing a password on my cell phone, which I just got a couple of months ago, I hit a key and
so hard. Yeah, it's so hard. I'm terrible on a cell phone screen. They're tiny. I can't imagine how it would be with Parkinson's. So there are accessibility solutions. What kind of phone is it?
It's an LG.
LG. So it's an Android phone.
Yeah.
The ideal would be for you to be able to dictate your password, right?
My voice isn't as clear as it was.
Yeah. You may also find one of the features that I use, I'm not sure if it would be good if you have shaky hands, but instead of tapping keys, because they're a tiny target, hard to hit, I use swiping. Are you familiar with that? Where you put your finger down once, and then it's almost like you're drawing from key to key. You're drawing a line, moving around. See how that works for you. Sometimes that's a little bit easier to do than tapping. I find it much easier because I have big fat fingers. I can't hit that little key. So the Google keyboard allows you to do that, Gboard. You should take a look at that keyboard. You can do voice dictation, and that might also be easier. But short of that, I don't know. That's a tough one. Do you want to... You want one that's easier to dial, probably, huh?
Well, if I type in a password, I can come out as a password.
So it's not. So the password's really the only stopping point for you.
Yeah, because numbers I can dial.
Yeah. Well, one thing you certainly want to do is the unlock password. You should look at the different choices. Among those is a PIN, a 4-digit number. And that is the same keypad as the phone dialing pad. So if you don't have too much trouble with the phone pad, use a 4-digit PIN. That'll be much easier for you.
That's what I use.
Okay, good. And then a password manager that automatically fills in the passwords might save you a lot of keystrokes as well. I use LastPass, and that's nice because when I have to enter a password for an app or a website, I can just let it fill that in. I don't have to type. I'm with you. I do everything I can to avoid typing on those tiny screens. So I'm glad you're able to use the 4-digit PIN. That's a good start. And try a password manager. My recommendation is LastPass. That's in the App Store as a way to type in those passwords for you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I didn't get to say have a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. Michael Cozio, our musical director. Kim Schaffer, our phone person. You get a couple weeks off. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.